Before starting the installation, make sure that there is no voltage on the connection cables. Activities related to installation, connection and adjustment should be performed by a qualified electrician who has read the operating instructions and the functions of the device. The multifunctional time relay PCM-10 is used to execute time functions in automation and control systems. The device has 10 independent operation modes, triggered by the supply voltage, or by the impulse, coming from the L or N line. It has a very wide range for T1 and T2 timers, as well as permanent switching on and off function. The relay applies the operating modes and time settings on ongoing basis. The device has following terminals: L, for connecting the phase potential, N, for connecting neutral potentials, IN terminals are for connecting the button or other automation components. They trigger the relay operation in the selected mode. Device outputs are the relay terminals. Terminal 11 is for incoming signal to the relay. Terminal 12 is a normally closed, NC terminal. Terminal 14 is a normally open terminal, NO. There are following LEDs on the front panel. Green LED indicates the power supply. Red LED indicates the relay's status. Constant lighting indicates the relay is on. Blinking LED indicates the countdown of the set time. LED off indicates the relay is off. That means shorting terminals 11 and 12. There are rotary potentiometers on the front panel. Range 1 and range 2 used to select the time range for T1 and T2 timers. Time 1 and time 2 to set the time T1 and T2, respectively. Mode potentiometer is used to select one of 10 operating modes. Modes from A to D are triggered by supply voltage. Modes from E to H are triggered by supplying the control potential to the IN terminals. Additionally, the device has the permanent switching on and off function. The relay is installed on a DIN rail, and occupies 2 modules. Put the PCM-10 relay on a DIN rail, using spring clamps. provide the supply voltage, the phase wire goes to the L terminal. The neutral wire goes to the N terminal. Connects the receiver. The receiver's phase wire goes to the output terminal marked as 14. The neutral wire of the receiver goes to the N terminal. Transfer phase potential from the input terminal, marked as L, to the input terminal 11. This is terminal of 16 amp relay built into the device. Connect the control button. The phase signal will be used as the control signal. The second wire will transfer the signal from the button to the PCM-10 relay. Phase conductor goes to terminal L. Cable coming from the button, put to the N terminal. Set the device. Time relay PCM-10 allows setting two different times, T1 and T2. They are set by two potentiometers. By the potentiometer marked as range, time range from 1/10 of a second to 1 day could be selected. The second potentiometer, marked as time, is used to set the correct time value by specifying the time base multiplier, in the range from 1 to 10. The time base value is multiplied by the multiplier. For the purposes of this video, a time setting of 5 seconds for T1, and 10 seconds for T2 will be implemented. Choose the time base T1, 1 second. Then choose the multiplier as 5. The result will be 5 seconds. Define the T2 time range. Time base as 1 second, then select the multiplier as 10. The result is a 10 seconds setting. Provide the supply voltage. The green LED lights up. The red LED blinks to count down. After the set time, this LED goes out. Choose the right operating mode. Operating mode A, delayed switch on. By applying the supply voltage, the relay is switched off for T1 time. After that, the relay switches on for the T2 time. Next cycle will be done after repowering the device. Operating mode B, delayed switch off. By applying the supply voltage, the relay is switched on for T1 time. After that, the relay will switch off for the time T2 and then will be switched on again. Next cycle will be done after repowering the device. Operating mode C, cyclical switching. Starting from switch off, by applying supply voltage, time T1 will be counted down. After that, the relay switches on for time T2. And switches off again for time T1. Cyclic operation is continued as long as device is powered. Operating mode D, cyclical switching. Starting from switch on, by applying supply voltage, the device will be switched on for time T1. After that, the relay switches off for time T2. And switches on again for time T1. Cyclic operation is continued as long as device is powered. Operating mode E, delayed switching on and switching off. By applying the trigger impulse with a rising edge, the powered system keeps the relay switched off, and begins to count down the time T1. After that, the relay is switched on. Once the trigger impulse disappears with falling edge, the system count down the time T2. After that, switch off the relay. If the trigger impulse is shorter than the set time T1, the relay will not be activated. Applying the trigger impulse during the counting of the T2 time will not switch off the relay, but decrease the time again after the impulse disappears, so the reaction will occur on the falling edge. Operating mode delayed switching on and off, non-retainable. By applying the trigger impulse with the rising edge, the powered system keeps the relay switched off, and begins to count down the T1 time. After that, the relay will be switched on. After disappearing the trigger impulse, with the falling edge, the system starts counting the T2 time. After that switches the relay off. The status of the trigger input may change while counting down the T2 time, and it has no influence to the operation of the system. If the trigger impulse is shorter than the time T1, the relay will not be activated. Operating mode G impulse generation with alternating duration. By applying the triggering impulse with rising edge, the powered system will activate the relay for the time T1, after that switches it off. Next triggering impulse switch on the relay for the time T2. Next impulse switches the relay on again for time T1. The duration of the trigger impulse does not affect the duration of the time when relay is switched on. Operating mode H, delayed switch off. By applying the trigger impulse with falling edge, the powered system switches on the relay. Disappearing of the triggering impulse starts the time T1, after that the relay is switched off, for the time T2. During T2 time the system does not accept triggering signals. After the T2 time has elapsed, the relay will be switched on after getting the trigger impulse,